Christ has come. Everyone's in your spiritual body. There's two different places that you have a choice of going to. The choice was made before this point, though. That's why I'm coming here. You have to make this choice now, whether to take that mark or not to take it. It says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and the great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he should be loosed a little season." Now, guys, this is where it gets critical. "And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus." Okay, no one is flown away from here. These are the ones in the temple. Where were they at? They were on the battlefront. "And for the word of God, in which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years." Okay, that's one group. That's the first group. Where are they at during this 1,000 years that Satan's bound away? We'll talk about where he's bound. Now, there's another set of spirits. Everyone's in their spiritual body. It says, "But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished." This is the first resurrection. In other words, the first resurrection are the ones that were there with Christ, that's going to be there for 1,000 years, that stayed and were witnesses, did not take the mark. Hold on. Now, at that point, when Christ returns, we're all changed in the spiritual body. We have two paths that we're going to take. On the left, the ones that have taken the mark. So remember, Satan is locked in the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. Death and Hades, or hell, are also there. The dead that have taken the mark live not again for these 1,000 years. Where do you think they're at? Where do you think they're going to be? They're in Hades. I can show you. Now, the other path over here, this is called the first resurrection. They are not subjected to the judgment at the end of the 1,000 years, when the books, not one book, there are two types of books. One is the book of life, one is the book of works. And Revelation 20, it says the first resurrection, you're living with Christ for that 1,000 years. The ones that have the mark are going to be living with the one that gave them the mark here for that 1,000 years. Guys, think about your life now. How old are you? Are you a teenager, 20, 30, 40, up 70, 80? How old are you? You're nowhere near this 1,000 years if you take this mark. Said, let's go to Revelation 24 here. It says, "I saw thrones again, and they sat upon them. Judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years." So we have two paths. Guys, the time is getting short. Now, the mark is going to be given to you in a couple different ways. Either you'll take it intentionally or you'll be deceived. But either way, if you take it, that 1,000 years, that's a lot longer than you've been here now. You're going to be in Hades with Satan, with death, and with Hades. In Hades. Hold on. And starting in Revelation 20:10, this chapter, let's read this, and it says, this is at the end of the 1,000 years, guys. Now, one set have been on the road to the right, the one where they're with Christ 1,000 years. The other that have taken the mark or not. It says at the end, this is the end, it says, "And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are." Remember, they were thrown there at the beginning of the 1,000 years, "and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away. It's so bright. And there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, here we go, small and great, stand before God, and the books, plural, were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life, singular. And the dead were judged out of the things which were written in the books, not the book of life, the other books, according to their what? To their works. Not faith, it's part of it, your works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and listen, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. Where were the other group? And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to, again, what? Their works. And death and hell. Now this is important. We're cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, and whoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into that lake of fire. In Greek, that's phine, or finished. Now, this is where you were at, in death and hell. Now, what does this mean? I want to show you something. Now, I want to take you to eSword, and this link is on our website, guys. It says free Bible software. It's very important. It has the Strong's and Hebrew and Greek translations. And what we're looking at is in 2014, it says in death and hell. Now, if you come to the top of your page, it'll have the plus button. You can see this. Let me move it up. And it will give you numbers. It's very important software, guys. You need to learn these things. And now if you come and you click on the numbers of these words, it will give you the definition of them. And so what I want to do, let's go to 2013. Look at death. It says deadly or death. Now go to hell, G86. It says, and you remember, this was translated in the Greek, it says Hades, not hell. And Hades are the place of departed souls. Guys, and those departed souls are the ones that are not with Christ, those 1,000 years. Again, think about how long that's going to be. Now, guys, the sheep will hear the Master's voice, and one of the names given to Christ, remember when he returned, was the Word of God. That was one of the names. That's important. He gave you a battle plan. Do you have eyes to see and ears to hear? Now, Revelation 9:5, note the number. It says, to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion, and when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. There it mentions the 5 months. You go to Revelation 9:10. It says, and they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. So the mark of the beast is going to be forced on a lot of people to simply eat. Now, if Christ is telling you here that during that 5 months when they have the power over us, in this last part of Bible prophecy, he's telling you to be prepared. And think about it, guys. If it's one person in your household, that's 150 days. This 150 days is also mentioned about Noah being in the ark for that 150 days. Old Testament witness. So I want you to start thinking about things like, and do the math. How long would it take you, or how much would it take you, excuse me, to survive for 150 days? Could you live on 2 cans a day? How many people are in your family? Say it was one person, and things are going to be tough. It's going to be tough all over. But for that 5 months, you could live on, say, 2 cans a day, you need 300 cans, or bags of rice and bags of dried beans. things that you don't have to worry about refrigeration on. Start doing the math. Do not take that mark. You see the results. The people that do not take the mark, that stand here, again, there's no rapture mentioned in the Bible. It's been misinterpreted. Satan has used it to deceive the world. This is revelation. This is telling you what is going to happen. Now, do you want to take that mark and live that 1,000 years and then have the books of judgment open? Or do you want to overcome now, not take the mark? If you have to be beheaded for Christ, for standing up and say, I'm not taking this mark, and then you've overcome. That's the first resurrection. You're not subjected to the second death. Read through the book of Revelation. It's 22 short little chapters. It's the battle plan of the end time. Again, do the math for your family, for food and water. Don't worry about if you're going to get tired of certain things. You're going to get tired of starving, and you're going to take that mark. And there goes the 1,000 years in hell, in Hades, with a sorry bunch. Antichrist, the false prophet, the beast, all of them down there with you for a lot longer than what you're about to go through. Just make it for the next few years or few months, whatever we got. We know that once it hits the fan, we got 5 months that we're going to have to put up with this. Be prepared for that. Do not take that road to the left. Heads up.